we have seen a whole lot of somber reporting and a lot of wild speculating about the search for Flight 370. More than anything else, we've seen a whole lot of this.
There is so much we still don't know.
We can't decide whether or not this is something that was intentional or some kind of accident.
The amount of information we don't know is tremendous.
There are many theories floating around out there.
There's also a good deal of speculation.
We still don't know what happened aboard the plane.
There is still no physical evidence.
We haven't heard anything so definitive.
All we know is the airplane disappeared.
One of my guests here last week, John Ostrower of the Wall Street Journal, wrote on Twitter that he's run out of ways to say, I don't know. And when it comes to decisions about how and how much to cover the missing plane, we have seen frustrations occasionally boil over. Watch what happened on Morning Joe on Monday.
The theories are for later in the show, and I'll tell you why. Because we have, everyone stop for a second. We shouldn't be talking about theories. If you want to go to a network that has theories about Pakistan just blared across for hours and hours and hours, you've got many choices out there.
I love Pakistan.
Okay, but that's actually capitalizing on a non-story for the sake of ratings because people's imaginations are pricked by this, and that's not responsible. We did the plane, we will do the plane, it will be done again. We will do the facts.
Okay, feel like that.
Mika Brzezinski was taking a shot at Fox News there, by the way. Fox had been playing up that possibility that the plane had been hijacked and flown to Pakistan, even though there was never any credible evidence for that. So with that in mind, this Pew Research Center survey really surprised me. 60% of people surveyed said there had either been just the right amount of plane coverage produced by the press or, get this, not enough coverage. 33% polled said there had been too much coverage. Joining me now is the president of the Pew Research Center, Alan Murray. Alan, thanks for coming on.
Great to be here, Brian.
Were you as surprised as I was that so many people were satisfied with the amount of coverage and only 1/3 thought there has been too much?
No, I wasn't surprised at all because I know your folks here at CNN are looking at the ratings every day. They're giving people what they want. I mean, that's the nature of the media world we live in. Consumers have lots of choices, and so they can choose to consume the news they want to choose. Editors don't get to decide anymore what people consume. People are choosing for themselves.
I hope editors still have some role, but you're saying they have less role, I suppose.
They have less of a role in this world than they did 3 decades ago.
This poll, by the way, was March 20th through 23rd, so it may well have changed in the week since. What was surprising...
But at that time, look, I have to say, I mean, watching the news, I said, well, wait a minute. You've got Putin going into Crimea. You have the whole Ukraine story. This is a big, big deal. Shouldn't we be spending more time on that? But that's not what the public said in our survey. They were more interested in the plane story.
It's one thing you wrote on Twitter this week. You said a challenge for news organizations. Do you give the public what they want, the jetliner, or what's important, Crimea? To which I would say, isn't the jetliner important also?
Well, sure, it's important, but which is more important? I mean,
well, and that will be the role of an editor.
That's the issue. In the old days, you got to make that decision and you put the more important story at the top of the page. But that's not how people consume news today. They're consuming it over Facebook. They're consuming it in different ways.
I wish we could go and interview the 12% of respondents in your poll who said there's been too little coverage, because I have not heard that from anyone except in this survey.
Well, maybe they'd like people to actually find out what happened. That could be what they're signaling when they say
right, that's what they're looking for. Were there any interesting differences in the data in that survey? For example, I noticed the Republicans were more likely than Democrats to say there's been too much coverage of the plane.
Yeah, I think this is not a political story. This is a human interest story. I mean, people have flown on planes. The notion that a plane can disappear without any trace and the people on it be gone without any trace is a fascinating human interest story to people. And it's a mystery that they want solved, and so they watch.
Right. Right. Well, your points about editors are really interesting to me, and they came up in the State of the News Media report that Pew released this week. This is the report that I look forward to every year as a news nerd.
Because serve you.
That's right. It gives us so many data points about where the news industry is. And last year, the report had a very somber tone. It was a rather sad read. This year, much more optimistic. In fact, in the very first paragraph, you all say that there's a new sense of optimism or perhaps hope for the future of American journalism. What are those reasons for hope?
Well, a couple of things. One is that the digital natives, the Huffington Post, the Gawker, BuzzFeed, Mashable, are actually staffing up. They're hiring reporters, which I think is fundamental here, that you have a professional group of people who are paid to go out and report the news. There are more of those. We did, for the first time ever, a count, how many people do these digital native organizations employ, found 5,000 people. That's not enough to make up for the 16,000 that were laid off in newspaper newsrooms over the course of the last decade, but it's a pretty big number. You're starting to see a real difference in terms of reporters on the ground trying to find out what's going on.
When you talk about that 5,000 number of new employees at these online news organizations, I found there were in your report 2 different types of these. There's big ones, like the ones you named, like BuzzFeed and Huffington Post, and then aren't there more than 400 smaller online news
Lots
organizations?
of little ones, and that's one of the most fascinating things going on in journalism right now is these little, like Homicide Watch is a bigger example, but you have little organizations, 2, 3, 4 people trying to cover some narrow area.
They're the names we don't know unless we happen to live in the communities they serve. But these are what, people that are just covering small niche topics?
Sometimes niche topics, sometimes small communities. Some of them, an awful lot of them are devoted to investigative reporting, but obviously there's a limited amount of investigative reporting you can do if you only have 2 or 3 or 4 people. But yeah, I think there are a lot of people who are trying to figure this out, and that's a good thing. That's where innovation comes from.
Where are these coming from? Who's paying for these? Because one of the points in the report is that there's new funding coming in for journalism.
Well, that's right. You see for the first time what we call the smart money. Obviously, Jeff Bezos' purchase of the Washington Post, Pierre Omidyar financing First Look Media. People who have made smart decisions, investment decisions in the past, are now putting money into media. They may be smart investors generally, but wrong about media. We don't know yet.
We're going to find out.
But they're putting money in, and that's one of the reasons to be optimistic.
And if there are lots of these small online news organizations, the ones you're describing that have 2 or 3 or 4 employees, they're not going to be covering the missing plane or Crimea. They're going to be honing on stories that otherwise wouldn't get covered at all.
Well, I think that's right. I think they're covering some important areas. On the other hand, it is possible to look out there and see areas that aren't being covered. I mean, I had a member of Congress tell me that he thinks one of the biggest problems in Washington is that 2 decades ago or 3 decades ago, every member of Congress had at least one reporter from the hometown newspaper looking over their shoulder and talking to their constituents about what they were doing. Most of that is gone. You walk into any State House newsroom in this country and look at all the empty desks, and you can see visually that there's been a huge cutback in the number of people who are covering state houses. So there are areas of coverage where we're clearly missing the kind of important coverage that we've had in the past. But that may come in time.
And I'm happy to have any reasons for optimism at all after several years of a more negative view of the state of the news.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say that this report that we just put out overall is terribly optimistic, but the way I put it is there's some green shoots in there. There's some things popping through the permafrost that are at least better than we've seen in the last decade.
Alan Murray, thanks so much for being here.
Great to be with you.